Hello, welcome to One for Made Incorporated. I'm Dr. Fadina here with a wellness tip. Diabetes and wellness. We might be, you or you might know someone who is dealing with the challenge of the chronic disease, diabetes. We don't like being told from physician that we're either pre-diabetic or we enter to the diabetes zone. We don't want to hear those words. And we know a lot of times we go to get our yearly physical, the doctor always reminds us that in our history, that either on our mother's side or our father's side, there is diabetics. So we have to be very cautious of that word. Now, just because it runs in your family doesn't mean you have to get it, but it means you need to be more cautious and aware of your wellness balance between your spirit, soul, and body. What you're eating, how you're sleeping, what you're not eating. We need to be aware of that because the choices you make on your wellness journey can lead you into that generational unhealthy lifestyle of being diabetic. So we need to be very careful and pick and choose our choices of eating, our choices of areas of our life. Be careful of that. And you know that the symptoms of diabetes, there's normally three that you can really notice. But remember, you have to remember that all we're all made differently. So then it means we might have some symptoms, we might not. So please make sure you don't miss your annual checkup. And you always check with your, I say your SP, your spiritual physician, if you have one and believe in that, and your medical physician. And no two people have the same symptoms. So you need to be careful of that. So we need to know that now this is just signs, but it doesn't mean that you are diabetic. If you have frequent urination, always urinating all the time, excessive thirst, increased appetite, other symptoms can be, but not limited to, wounds healing slowly, feeling tired, vision blurred, and weight changing. So now, with that in mind, we need to take into consideration our types, diabetes types, and nutrition. As you're dealing with any kind of chronic disease, we know diabetes is one of them, but heart issues, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, allergies, or sinus. Then your medication that you're taking might have a list of various side effects and vitamin deficiencies. And it might say you have to eliminate certain foods. So please make sure you keep in constant balanced relationship between you and your medical physician, your spiritual physician, because it's very important. Also, we'll get into it too about you can have emotional changes, mood swings, but you don't have to be a diabetic to have emotional changes. You can be PMSing or just having a rough day or grieving because of loss of a loved one, finances, or job. So if you're dealing with diabetes type 1 and type 2, you need to be very aware of what you're eating. You want to make sure that you balance your food intake and your insulin intake. If you want insulin, please make sure you alert that. You want to make sure that you are taking in 20% of protein, 30% from fat, and between 40 and 60 carbohydrates, and emphasis on a low salt cholesterol diet. That's very important. You want to make sure you really get into that. If you want more information and in-depth details about the different types of type diabetes, type 1, type 2, check out our Wellness Made Clear educational section because we do get into that for people who just want to keep educating themselves in any area of their life because we're about wellness, spirit, soul, and body. So you want to take that. But you want to make sure that you want to avoid foods. I know we like to eat French fries, but you got to avoid a lot of fat foods. You got to avoid French fries because your potassium level. You got to watch your bananas and raisins. You want to stay away from simple carbohydrates, trans fatty foods, and loaded with animal fat. You want to be very careful there. If you're a diabetic and pregnant, you want to make sure that you recognize any degree of glucose intolerance. Be very aware of that, okay? To make sure that you are not at risk taking on oral glucose tolerance between 24 and 28 weeks of pregnancy. You want to watch your glucose tolerance in that area. You want to have suggested foods of like 2 to 4 days servings of fruits and 3 to 4 days servings of vegetables and 6 or more daily servings of grain, beans, and starchy vegetables. You want to make sure that you avoid white sugars. I know that can be, very contagious. Talk to your doctor about that. And talk to your nutrition. You want to really get involved with nutrition, and your doctor, your medical physician, can refer you to one. You want to watch your fruit juices, sodas, and white grain. So the best thing, if you're not really aware what you're doing, prayerfully select and choose a nutrition through your medical physician because they can help you with that. Because it's very important that we need to be you need to be very careful that not only when you're pregnant, but as just when you've been diagnosed with diabetic. Now, diabetes and emotions. You can encourage yourself through this though. You really can. You can use whatever works for you. Scriptures work. Depends on what you believe in, your faith level. Whatever works for you, you want to make sure you have an inner source that's more controlling than your outward surrounding environments. You want to make sure you can either get into a spiritual group, support group, something that's going to help you to balance out your emotion. You want to watch your blood sugar and level fluctuation that can be causing your blood sugar to go up and down. Notice what's going around me. What's going on in your life? Are you going through a grieving process? Are you going through, even if there's called, well, there's no such thing as bad and good emotions, but there's such thing as called healthy emotions and draining emotion. What can drain your emotions? You know that relationships can drain, and if you in a relationship that's really draining you as far as your emotions, you want to probably try to go back to your doctor again, who can relate you to a counselor, a psychologist, whatever you need. And there's nothing that says anything wrong with you if you need help outside what you can do for yourself. You want to focus on the seasons changing because if different seasons, the weather change cause about different emotions. And you want to continue your ongoing self-preservation, which means you should still want to maintain a healthy lifestyle, exercising, which means there's a balance. You want to make sure you're doing strength training. You want to do cardiovascular. Now, as far as strength training, know your limitation in your body. Know what's going on with you. Know your medications. Know when you have more high energy level. You might be a person more of a morning person, or you might be more of an evening person. Know your limitations when you get into that. And also, if you're exercising, you want to wear white cotton socks because a lot of times you might have sores, and as a diabetic, they don't heal as readily as some sores can for people who are not diabetics. So you want to make sure you watch when you're sweating, watch your sores intake, watch your feet. It's very important as a diabetic to watch your feet. And as you engage in strength training, know your limitations. Know how much you can limit. If you have not started, you need to go seek a personal trainer, someone that can help you, a fitness coach, to go through your fitness routine if you're not used to exercising. And cardiovascular, what do you enjoy doing? Don't just jump into it. If you do not like swimming, please, by all means, do not take a swimming class. If you love to dance, then get into a dance class. If you love to walk, just walk. If you're not doing anything so far, then I would suggest you try walking 3 times a week for maybe on your lunch break, maybe 5 minutes in the morning, maybe 5 minutes at night, but start somewhere because anything you do will help you maintain a balanced lifestyle. So you want to make sure you're getting involved into that too. And again, if you don't know what to do, check with a fitness coach or a personal trainer, someone that can help you through that. And you want to make sure that you're not being destructive yourself by making yourself exercise when you're not feeling to it. Make sure that it's not that you just don't want to, but you're not feeling up to it. And also know your side effects from any kind of medication you're on from a diabetic. Know what your side effects are and know what's going on with your body because diabetes does not control you. You control it when you maintain a healthy lifestyle. If you want more information, please check out our website and look up under Wellness Made Clear and subscribe. And if you like this, our wellness tip for today or any of them, please like, share, and subscribe. And remember, diabetes doesn't have you. You can control it by maintaining a healthy lifestyle and seeking help when needed in any area. Be blessed.